How many of them from where we sit right now look like they might truly be worth tanking over?
3. Absolutely 3. CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and Will Levis at Kentucky.
6 months ago, Will Levis was supposed to be the future of the Tennessee Titans. Today, he's riding the bench behind Mason Rudolph. In 18 months, he went from franchise savior to forgotten backup. What the hell happened?
Anyone who's ever been in my situation can agree that it sucks, and I'm just trying to do everything I can to not let it affect me, and just, being just the same dude every day in the building and being here for the guys whoever I can and just trying to get better. I haven't been a backup in a while, so don't plan on shifting my mindset at all regardless of what the situation is. So we're just gonna, be ready to play quarterback whenever I'm.
Let's start at the beginning, because what happened to Will Levis started way before he ever put on a Titans uniform. Draft night 2023, Will Levis, the quarterback from Kentucky, was supposed to go in the first round. Some mock drafts even had him going in the top 5 picks.
Now he steps up, he's throwing for the end zone, coming, touchdown! Hurdles the defender at the 20, inside the 15-yard line!
Who is this guy?
This wasn't just some random college player. Scouts loved everything about him on paper. He had a cannon for an arm.
Before the college football season started, I was hearing, 5 guys, 6 guys, 7 guys are going to go in the first round. How many of them from where we sit right now look like they might truly be worth tanking over?
3. Absolutely 3. CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and Will Levis at Kentucky.
He was 6'4" and built like a linebacker. He could throw the ball 70 yards without even stepping into it. But here's where things got weird. His college tape was all over the place. Sometimes he looked like a future NFL star. Other times he looked confused and lost. His decision-making was questionable. His accuracy came and went.
All right, here comes Will Levis, our first full-on look at the Kentucky Wildcat.
You cannot get away from what Will Levis does in terms of elite arm talent. He's a really impressive quarterback. He's a guy with a large ceiling.
But teams take risks on quarterbacks like that all the time, right? Wrong. Will Levis didn't go in the first round. He didn't go in the top 20. He didn't even go in the top 30. For 3 weeks before the draft, everyone was saying the Indianapolis Colts were going to take him at pick 4. That never happened. The Colts kept their plan secret, and Levis kept falling. You have to imagine what that feels like.
Listen, he's physically gifted. He's a flamethrower. He's got mobility. He's built sturdy. He's tough as nails. He's an ultimate competitor. There's so many good things about Will Levis, but there were some negatives.
You're a 23-year-old kid watching your dreams slip away on live television. Every pick that goes by without your name is another team saying they don't believe in you. Every analyst talking about the surprise is another reminder that you're not where you thought you'd be.
Fewest points allowed through 6 games in a long time, and Levis is going to get the first down on the quarterback keeper.
Finally, at pick 33 in the second round, the Tennessee Titans called his name. Will Levis, quarterback, Kentucky.
It was truly the first time in my career where I was named a starter, at least for preseason.
The Wildcats have their man at quarterback. Will Levis just began fully practicing with the team 9 days ago. That's how impressive he's looked.
It was all over, a full round later than anyone expected, but at least it was over. The Titans were a team at a crossroads when they drafted Levis. Ryan Tannehill was still their starting quarterback, but everyone knew his time was running out. The team had drafted Malik Willis the year before, but the coaches weren't sold on him. Levis represented something different. He was their swing for the fences, their bet on upside over safety. Training camp that year was full of questions. Could Levis push Tannehill for the starting job? Would he beat out Malik Willis for the backup spot? Or would the Titans stick with what they knew and let the rookie learn slowly? For most of the first season, Levis held a clipboard. Tannehill started every game, and Levis watched from the sidelines. He was learning the system, getting used to NFL speed, trying to fix the mechanical issues that had made scouts nervous in college. Then everything changed in Week 8. Tannehill went down with an ankle injury. The Titans were 2-4 and going nowhere fast. The coaches had a choice: stick with the veteran backup or throw the rookie into the fire. They chose Levis, and for one magical afternoon, it looked like they'd found their franchise quarterback. His first start came against the Atlanta Falcons. Nobody really knew what to expect. He'd been inactive for every game so far. This wasn't just his first start, it was his first time even playing in an NFL game. The pressure should have been crushing. Instead, Levis looked like he'd been doing this for years. He threw 4 touchdown passes. 4 in his debut. That doesn't happen. They're supposed to struggle. They're supposed to look overwhelmed and make mistakes. They're not supposed to light up scoreboards in their very first game. The arm talent everyone had talked about was obvious. Every throw had zip on it. He could fit balls into tight windows. He could throw from different arm angles. When he rolled out to his right and fired a strike down the sideline, you could see why scouts had fallen in love with him in the first place. But it wasn't just the physical tools. Levis looked confident in the pocket. He was reading defenses. He was going through progressions. When the play broke down, he'd extend it with his legs and find an open receiver. For one game, everything clicked. The Titans won, and suddenly everyone was talking about Will Levis.
Titans, Falcons, Ryan Tannehill out with a high ankle sprain. Will he ever get the job back? That'll be a debate on like 20 other shows.
Social media exploded with highlight videos. Sports talk shows were debating whether he should stay the starter even when Tannehill got healthy. Fans who had been ready to write off the season were suddenly excited again. This wasn't supposed to happen. Rookie quarterbacks, especially ones who weren't even supposed to be playing yet, don't usually come in and immediately succeed. But Levis had done exactly that, and it changed everything. The Titans made the smart decision. Even when Tannehill got healthy, they kept Levis as the starter. Why wouldn't they? The season was already lost, and they needed to see what they had in their young quarterback. Levis needed the reps, and the team needed to know if he was their future. He finished his rookie year with 8 starts. The numbers weren't spectacular, but they were solid for a rookie. 1,808 yards, 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. More importantly, he showed flashes of the player everyone thought he could become. The arm talent was real, the mobility was an asset. When he was comfortable, he could make throws that most quarterbacks simply couldn't.
We're gonna get in our shot right quick. We're gonna get it tightened up. Get this on. Let's go. Just need one score. Just need one score.
Fans were split between cautious optimism and full-blown hype. In a league where good quarterbacks are impossible to find, the Titans looked like they might have accidentally stumbled on one. The draft day slide suddenly looked like a blessing in disguise. Going into 2024, everything was set up perfectly for Will Levis. Tannehill was gone. The job was his. The team brought in a new offensive coordinator who was supposed to design a system around his strengths. For the first time in his football career, Levis was the unquestioned starter from day one. That's when everything started falling apart. The problems showed up immediately. In the season opener, Levis threw an interception on 3rd down that got returned for a touchdown. It was the kind of mistake that makes coaches question everything. The throw was late, the decision was questionable, and the result was disastrous. It wasn't just one play though. Game after game, the issues kept piling up.
A couple months from now, you're going to realize that you're in the right spot and that you're here because the people want you and they love you. And that would have kept me at ease. I definitely thought I had it.
The offensive line, which had never been great, seemed to get worse. Levis was getting hit constantly. He was under pressure on almost every drop back. When you're getting crushed in the pocket, it's hard to stay confident and make good decisions. His mechanics, which had always been a work in progress, started breaking down under the pressure. He was holding the ball too long. His footwork was sloppy. Throws that had looked effortless during his rookie highlights now looked forced and inaccurate. The receiving core wasn't helping either. Drops became a constant problem. Routes weren't being run at the right depth. The timing that's so crucial in the NFL was completely off. When your receivers aren't where they're supposed to be, even good throws can look terrible. But the biggest problem was between Levis's ears. You could see the confidence draining out of him week by week. The quarterback who had looked so poised in his debut was now second-guessing every decision. He was seeing ghosts in the pocket. He was forcing throws into coverage because he couldn't trust his protection to hold up. The stats tell the story of a player in free fall. His completion percentage dropped. His yards per attempt plummeted. The touchdown to interception ratio flipped from positive to negative. Most importantly, the Titans kept losing. They started the season 0-3, and it only got worse from there. Levis had thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. His quarterback rating was among the worst in the league. The player who had looked like a franchise savior just months earlier now looked like he might not even belong in the NFL. Then came the injuries. Levis tried to play through shoulder problems that clearly affected his throwing motion. Every pass looked labored. The zip that made his arm talent so obvious was gone. He was sailing throws over receivers' heads and bouncing passes in the dirt.
That is so well done by him. You can tell he's calm, he's cool and collected.
The final straw came in week 15. After another terrible performance, the Titans made the decision that everyone could see coming. Will Levis was benched. Mason Rudolph, a career backup, was taking over as the starter. For a young quarterback, getting benched is devastating. It's the organization telling you that they'd rather play someone else, anyone else, than continue watching you fail. It's a vote of no confidence that's broadcast to the entire league. The Titans didn't stop there. In the following draft, they used their first-round pick on quarterback Cam Ward from Miami. It was the clearest possible signal that the Will Levis experiment was over. They weren't just benching him for the rest of the season, they were moving on permanently.
Get back with you here from Coral Gables, where Cam Ward is ready to let it rip with much anticipation.
But here's the thing. What happened to Will Levis isn't really about Will Levis. It's about a league that has completely lost its way when it comes to developing quarterbacks. The NFL used to understand that playing quarterback was the hardest job in sports. Teams expected rookies to struggle. They gave young players time to learn and grow. They understood that development takes patience and that rushing the process usually leads to failure. Look at Peyton Manning's rookie year. He threw 28 interceptions. 28. The Colts went 3-13.
Hall of Fame quarterback and two-time Super Bowl champion Peyton Manning.
By today's standards, Manning would have been benched halfway through the season and probably replaced the following year. Instead, the Colts stuck with him. He learned from his men, went 0-11 as a rookie starter. He threw more interceptions than touchdowns and looked completely overwhelmed. If that happened today, he'd be labeled a bust and out of the league within 2 years. Instead, the Cowboys kept believing in him and he led them to 3 Super Bowl victories.
They go back to big day as Super Bowl champions. Dallas 52, Buffalo 17.
The difference between then and now is patience. Modern NFL teams don't have any. The league is drafting quarterbacks high and giving up on them faster than ever before. Look at the recent examples. Zach Wilson was a top 2 pick who got benched multiple times before being traded.
The job of a quarterback is a hell of a lot more important than the job of everybody else in that locker room. So he's got to understand it. If not, he's going to be out there with Josh Rosen going to Team 8.
Trey Lance was the 3rd overall pick who barely got a chance to play before being shipped out of San Francisco. Mac Jones went from Rookie of the Year conversations to being benched and traded within 3 years.
Saw Mac Jones, you could read his lips saying, "I'm out." Look, he had some turnovers early. That's a pretty quick hook. It was a pretty athletic play by their safety. He's telling Nelson, "I'm out."
Josh Fields showed flashes of brilliance in Chicago, but never got the offensive line or receiving help he needed. When he struggled, the Bears moved on rather than building around him. Sam Darnold was labeled a bust in New York, struggled in Carolina, and is only now showing his potential in Minnesota with better coaching and support. The pattern is clear. Teams draft quarterbacks expecting immediate results, and when those results don't come, they panic. Instead of asking why the player is struggling or what they can do to help him succeed, they just move on to the next option.
When they play playoff teams, they don't win. And we fooled ourselves because the games are close. So we think they're close. Oh, they're right there. If. That's how bad teams talk. They are a bad football team, and we just haven't said it like that. We need to say it. They're a bad team.
Will Levis is the latest casualty of this broken system. The Titans saw him struggle and decided the problem was his, not the situation around him. They didn't fix the offensive line that was getting him killed. They didn't improve the receiving core that was dropping the passes. They didn't give him the weapons and protection that every quarterback needs to succeed. Instead, they drafted his replacement and moved on. It's the easy solution, but it's probably not the right one. Here's what makes the Levis situation even more frustrating. He's only 25. He's 6'4", 230 pounds, and can still throw the ball 70 yards. The physical tools that made him attractive coming out of college haven't disappeared. The arm talent is still there. The mobility is still an asset. More importantly, his rookie year showed that he can play at this level. That 4-touchdown debut wasn't a fluke.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing for me. Like, I didn't want to go out and try to be like, I'm showing all this stuff and trying too hard and going crazy. Like, just going to keep playing the position. Just keep running the offense how I've been taught and just do what I see as fit and just let it come to me.
Those flashes of brilliance throughout his 8 starts weren't accidents. There's a good player in there if someone's willing to be patient enough to develop him. The problem is that patience doesn't exist in today's NFL. Once you've been labeled as a failure, it's almost impossible to get another real chance. Levis will probably spend the next few years as a backup, getting occasional opportunities to show what he can do, but never getting the consistent playing time and support he needs to really develop.
Just trying to get better. I haven't been a backup in a while, so don't plan on shifting my mindset at all regardless of what the situation is. So we're just gonna, be ready to play quarterback whenever my name's called.
It's a waste of talent, but it's also a predictable outcome in a league that has forgotten how to build quarterbacks. The Titans would rather start over with a rookie than fix the problems that derailed their last young quarterback. They'll probably make the same mistakes with Cam Ward and wonder why he's struggling too.
And I can't imagine at the end of the day it not being Cam Ward week 1 and week 2 and every week for every year that he's healthy enough to play for as long as his career lasts, Michael.
The truth is that most quarterback failures aren't really about the quarterback at all. They're about organizations that don't know how to create the right environment for success. They're about teams that expect perfection from 22 and 23-year-old kids who are still learning how to play the most difficult position in sports. Will Levis might get another chance elsewhere. Maybe he'll end up like Ryan Tannehill, who found success in Tennessee after struggling in Miami. Maybe he'll be like Jared Goff, who's having the best years of his career after being written off in Los Angeles. Maybe he'll be like Geno Smith, who waited years for another opportunity and made the most of it in Seattle. Or maybe he won't. Maybe he'll be one of those players that had all the tools but never found the right situation. Maybe he'll spend a few more years holding clipboards before eventually retiring and wondering what might have been. What's certain is that the Will Levis story isn't really over. He's still young, still has the physical tools, and has shown he can play at this level when everything comes together. The question is whether the NFL will give him the time and opportunity to prove it. But don't hold your breath. This league has made it clear that patience isn't a luxury it can afford. Development is too slow and expectations are too high. If you can't figure it out immediately, someone else will get your chance. The system failed Will Levis as much as he failed the system. Until that changes, we'll keep asking the same question about young quarterbacks. What the hell happened? What do you think happened here? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See ya!